What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNews.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, we're back on the Derby trail, sort of. We are at the Ohio Derby for this preview. So we're going to go to Thistledown's race 12 on the card. It is the Ohio Derby, grade 3 event, going a mile and an eighth, $500,000 a purse. Thistledown, this is their big race every year, and this is kind of always the kickoff, I would say, of kind of the second-rate derbies. So you're going to have the Ohio Derby, the Iowa Derby, the Indiana Derby, the West Virginia Derby, Oklahoma Derby, things like that coming up, and they're always kind of fun to have big days at the smaller tracks. So let's get to it. We got a field of 10 this year for the Ohio Derby. Should be a fun race. It always is, right? So let's go through them one by one, see if we can get you a winner. The number one is Breittons Baytown, and this has just been awkward, to say the least, what they did. So what they've done, I should say, with this horse. So he broke the maiden back on December 11, 2024 at Charlestown, then was fourth in an allowance at Charlestown, went to Laurel Park for a $40,000 claimer where he was first by a half length. After that series of races, this horse ran in the Rebel, where he was eighth, beaten 11 3/4. The Arkansas Derby, fifth, beaten 18 1/4. The Peter Pan finished eighth, beaten 10 3/4. And then a starter allowance last time out at Churchill Downs, beaten ninth, or finishing ninth, beaten 13 1/2. And off of that race, they said, let's go to the Ohio Derby. This is insane. So I'm just going to go on to the next one. I have no clue what they're doing with this horse. The number two is Chunk of Gold. This is a horse that broke the maiden on debut at Turfway Park, then went back to run second in a stakes race there at Turfway Park, beaten by Baby Max. Second in the Risen Star next, second in the Louisiana Derby after that, and then ninth in the Kentucky Derby. So, look, a horse that is kind of just been a really consistent runner. He kind of runs the same race every time, and he hasn't been good enough to win any of these races since his maiden debut score. But I thought ran pretty well in the Louisiana Derby. Just couldn't quite get there. Tastic was just a little bit better of a horse. Kentucky Derby kind of just did what you kind of thought he would do, just kind of run around there and, kind of split the field. So, can he do it here? Well, he's been working extremely well since that Kentucky Derby. I think this is a very, very good spot for him to run. We'll see. Looks like on paper, he's going to have pace to run into. He can kind of sit mid-pack, make a run, and we'll see what happens. Chunk of Gold, I think, makes a lot of sense in this race. This is a very good spot for him to try to pick up that first victory on the dirt. The number three is Capo Luca. This is a horse that just ran 10 days ago right here at Thistledown. Was a winner in an allowance company and has won 3 straight allowance races. Speed figures are a little bit light, but look, this is a local, going to take a shot here. Great trainer, great jockey at this track. So, look, I think we'll come in here and not embarrass himself. But look, it's obviously going to be a big time step up in class, and that's going to be the big challenge for the 3 Capo Luca. The 4 is McAfee. This is a horse that won on debut and was second in a starter allowance at Churchill Downs, fifth in the Gotham, fifth in the Wood Memorial, and then almost won the Peter Pan at 7-1. Got second, beaten 3/4 of the length. This is a pretty, equivalent race. The Peter Pan to the Ohio Derby makes sense. We saw Hill Road run in the Belmont Stakes, and he wasn't awful, but he just wasn't good enough. And, let's face it, McAfee wouldn't have been good enough either. That's just kind of the level. But right here in the Ohio Derby, makes a ton of sense. Johnny Velasquez gets aboard for the second straight race. Should sit a nice trip just behind the speed. I think this horse is in with a shot. Really liked his race last time out. If he can get back to that kind of race, I think he's in here with a big-time shot for sure. The number 5 is Extradition. This is a horse that was third last time out to Capo Luca. A horse won 2 races back in an allowance race right here at Thistledown. Another one of the locals. We'll see if he can kind of step up and make a little bit of an impact. If you want to play a local, this probably isn't the one I would play. I would play the 3 Capo Luca. So we'll just kind of skip the 5. I don't think that's much of a shot, but I do like that the local gets a chance to run here in the Ohio Derby. The number 6 is Clever Again. Everybody knows Clever Again, of course. Broke the maiden at Oaklawn Park on February 23rd, then went to run in the Hot Springs Stakes, where he was victorious by 4 lengths over Gaming that day in gate-to-wire fashion. And then disaster in the Preakness, of course, took the worst of all the bumping in that race. Got hit pretty hard by journalism after journalism was hit by Goal Oriented. And I don't want to get into all that, but still, this horse had no chance after that. Now, here's the thing. he definitely was not helped by that situation at all. However, he was already starting to back up when all that started to happen. That's my worry with him today. This is obviously a much easier spot, a much better spot for him, but he was backing up in that Preakness before the real running began. And the horse that was tracking him did get second and almost won the race. So I don't know. I think this is a really good spot to bring him back. I think it makes sense. He's been back to the track, obviously, since that race with a couple of works, and they've been okay. So I am skeptical of how he will come back. Mentally, that kind of takes a little bit out of you, obviously, for a young horse to get beat around like that. And then secondly, I don't know. Does he want to go a mile and an eighth? It didn't look like he wanted to go very far in the Preakness, past about a mile. So we'll see. Again, though, a lot of excuses and a lot of valid excuses in the Preakness. Maybe if he doesn't get body checked, he runs better. And obviously would have ran better, but maybe better than I'm even thinking, and would have hit the board or something. But I don't know, kind of skeptical of him in the spot, but very good spot for him to try to run for sure. The number 7 is Bohemian Style. This horse is coming out of claiming races at Presque Isle. As a matter of fact, the last 4 races have been claiming races. Only one of them was a win, and it was a maiden claimer at Tampa. So I don't know why we're doing what we're doing with this horse, but here he is. The number 8 is Curvino, another horse coming out of lower level races, although allowance company. 5th last time out, beaten 7 1/4 an allowance race at Churchill Downs. 2 races back, 2nd, beaten 2 1/2 an allowance race at Oaklawn Park. Respectable both those races. Tried the Jeff Ruby Stakes 3 races back, 6, beaten 8 3/4. Allowance 4 races back at Oaklawn, 3rd, beaten 3 1/4 or 3 3/4. I mean, he's been around it, but just really, hasn't shown all that much. Did break the maiden at Oaklawn, but it was a maiden claiming race, so not much interest for me here. Even though Peter Miller trains Mike Smith, going to come in to ride, so big name connections, but I don't know. I don't think this is the greatest spot for him. The number 9, as we keep going here, is Master Controller. Maiden claiming victory last time out. Now it was 100K maiden claimer, so it was a high level maiden claimer, but did get the job done. That was off of a long layoff. The horse, this is an interesting horse. In the 3 races leading up to that one, as a 2-year-old, debuted on the turf at Kentucky Downs, did no running. 10th, beaten 18. Maiden special weight on the dirt next time out at Keeneland, 8th, beaten 8. And then a maiden special weight on the dirt at Churchill, 5th, beaten 8 1/2. And then, like I said, dropped down to that maiden claiming company and won. Also cut back in distance for that race. It was able to get the job done. So I don't know. This is a tough ask now. I'm not sure why the 9 is here either, to be quite honest. And then finally, we get to the number 10, MLEX. This is a horse that has been super consistent. 3 straight wins to start the career before running 3rd in the Champagne and then 2nd in a New York bred race to end his 2024. As a 3-year-old, came back, ran 3rd, beaten a half length off the bench at a New York bred stakes race. So that was a pretty good performance there. And then last time out, winning the Bayshore at Aqueduct by a head and looked pretty good doing it. So look, stretching out to a mile and an eighth for the first time here. Been running 7 furlongs, mile or 6 furlong races. So I don't know about the stretch out. I do think this horse is going to be up on the lead today. I see this horse pressing the pace quite a bit. And I think him and Clever again are going to go out there. Master Controller, maybe Cheap Speed, but I think he's going to be out there as well. So I do see a fairly hot pace in this one. I think MLEX is going to play a part in that. So, all right, that's the field of 10. You got to pick a winner. I am really concerned Clever again is going to get bet down pretty hard here. So I am going to stay away from Clever again in this spot. And I'm going to go number 2, Chunk of Gold, on top to win this race. I think the race 2 back in the Louisiana Derby, if he can replicate that race, I think he'll get up and get the win. He beat Instant Replay that day, who's not too bad of a horse. I do think there's going to be a lot of pace. I think he'll get kind of first run on the leaders. And I don't mind him in this spot. I think he makes a lot of sense. He's had 2 very good workouts since that Kentucky Derby. I think he's getting better. I don't think this is a great field. I'm skeptical of Clever again. McAfee's a horse I thought about, but I think Chunk of Gold's a little better. So I'm going to go number 2, Chunk of Gold. Hopefully the pace is hot and Chunk of Gold can kind of get up there, make a big run, and get up and win this thing. So number 2, Chunk of Gold for me in the Ohio Derby. All right, guys, that'll do it for this preview. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do previews like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're playing Thistledown on Saturday.